for Ansem's tweets, send me all the tweets that are containing at least one or more ticker. This actually has been building before ChatGPT came live. I can say that, hey, can you send $100 from Base to Solana? This agent will essentially execute that for you. Hi everybody, welcome to my next episode of my Consumer AI series. Very excited for this episode because we're covering Orbit. So Orbit is another abstraction layer that is multi-chain. So essentially it's connected with 117 chains so far. And I think it's the most chains we've seen out of any abstraction layer platforms. It's a multi-chain abstraction layer, which means that, for example, I can say that, hey, can you send $100 from Base to Solana? This agent will essentially execute that for you. And I think it's very different because a lot of these other abstraction layers that I've seen are one-sided. It's only on a single chain. So for example, Solana DeFi, sort of native agents or Base native agents or Ethereum native agents. So what stands out about Orbit is that besides its multi-chain capabilities, you can also get access to all of their DeFi capabilities. And a lot of these agent platforms that I've seen so far, they have pretty okay DeFi capabilities. Maybe you can do a simple swap. You can do maybe swap 100 USD to Solana, or maybe on a different chain. However, to do more complex sort of DeFi applications and to leverage that capability is actually quite hard to find. But with Orbit, I did pretty complex strategies that I've tested out, and actually it works pretty well, which I was very, very impressed by. We'll also dive a little bit into, the competitor landscape. I know this abstraction layer sort of war is heating up, and there's so many more coming up. But Orbit has actually been building for 3 years now. This actually has been building before ChatGPT came live, which is a crazy statistic. So let's dive into all the capabilities of Orbit and how it stands out compared to the players. So this is the second time that I will be leveraging Poopman DeFi's ecosystem comparison of abstraction layers and DeFi AI sort of landscape. And yeah, let's dive into it. This table includes Graphene, which is the leading winner. And I think these stats might have changed over time because this was posted in January 16. It's one of the clearest ones I've seen so far. So good job to Poopman DeFi for putting this together, as I found it extremely useful. So we have Graphene as the market leader. You have Anon that's coming up. And when you look at Orbit, so Orbit is very flexible. They have a ton of models supported. It's by the Sphere One team. So essentially Ryan and Christopher founded Sphere 3 years ago. So this team has very rich experiences in the Web2 world, and now obviously they're building a killer product in Web3. So I think this merge of Web2 and Web3 is really coming together for them. And I think for abstraction layers, it's quite important to have very deep knowledge in the Web2 world and to really understand what's needed in the space. So I think really this conversion of Web2 and Web3 knowledge from them will really take them a long way. And yes, they have wallet integrations. This product is also public access, so if I'm not mistaken, you don't actually need to hold Orbit tokens to be able to access it. And in terms of the functions that Poopman DeFi has laid out, essentially you can execute trade, you can schedule tasks with natural language, you can do LP management, yield optimization, and I've also seen some personality agents. So essentially they integrate it with Twitter API to scrape some of the tweets by key influencers like Sammy and a couple of others, which we'll dive right into as well. Another tweet that has caught my eye is from Chell from Alliance DAO. So he basically talked about the topic of DeFi AI, and if you spend just 15 minutes doing research, you would know that Orbit is clearly ahead of all its players. Yeah, I tend to think so because I think building a DeFi AI application is extremely hard. And I think people have been trying to nail this abstraction layer play for the longest time. But I think now it makes sense because a lot of DeFi has already been so mature. You have some of the top DeFi applications out there, but who's really using it is another question. And I think that's another question that we're trying to solve with these abstraction layers and making it easier and simpler to onboard new users. For example, my parents also love using Phantom Wallet and they actually trade quite a bit. So for them, I think in order to explain what yield is, how do you get the best yields on Solana, is also a very difficult step to explain. So I struggle with that a lot, and I think it's quite true because for Orbit, for example, you can do a lot of multi-chain swaps, which isn't available anywhere else. And in order to even bridge, that's a very difficult explanation, and it requires a lot of steps, right? And maybe sometimes different wallets as well. I think this is very much a necessary problem to solve, and if a killer app comes along and manages to onboard the next hundreds and hundreds of users, then I think this is going to be worth a lot of money. Okay, so now let's dive into the portal and see what they offer. So I've done a bit of testing so far earlier today. Essentially, I did quite a couple of steps, to get, maybe the best pools on Solana, some of the best Solana yield opportunities. And you can see here, it's very intuitive, which is what I really like about the platform so far. So you can see very clearly what are the earning options, what are some of the pools with the highest APY. For example, here, JubeSol has about 9.8% APY, which is the highest here. So I can see that they're supporting most of the very established, Solana DeFi protocols. You have Jupiter, you have Judo, Lido, Marinate. And then when you go to Solana yields, this is also another key point that I really like, because it shows you exactly, where these rates are coming from, right? For example, Camino JLP, Camino Alt, and then this is the Drift, maybe the vaults or one of their lending pools. So what I would like to see further is, like, for example, Drift, where is the yield coming from? Because I know they have a bunch of places where you can actually earn. So to state this more clearly would be better for the end user. And you can also see there's a minimum deposit amount. So for example, PayPal USD, you have to deposit at least 100 PayPal USD to be able to use this feature. And then for USDC, it's also similar, 100 USDC. There's this top 3 rates. You can also see, if you want any other different yield options, that's also available. Another thing that would be extremely helpful is if I can click into it, I can see exactly where it stands on the Camino platform. Yeah, I think that will be much more intuitive for the end user, and at least for me, I'll be able to compare it with the yields that are provided on the website to see if it's on par. This is one of the options. I basically did a bunch of things. You can see here, so I want to see all the available rates for yields on Solana, and this is what they gave me, which I ran through earlier. So what you can also do is that, for example, they have personality agents. Sammy agent is one of them. I basically told them to tell me what tokens I should buy after analyzing 5 tweets from Sammy. And now the agent is thinking, and the agent basically said, okay, this is a latest tweet regarding Mobi. And essentially, yeah, this is covered. And then, a couple of others. So what the Orbit agent has told me is that they've analyzed the recent tweets from Sammy, and these are the summary of the findings. So Vine is, one that Mobi agent actually called out, and it netted a 5x return for people who acted on this notification, which is pretty crazy. And then Sammy is a huge advocate in the AI space, so AI related tokens is also, it also makes sense that Sammy has said that. So after you get all the tweets that Sammy has said, you can also proceed with the trades directly on Solana. So you can confirm that, okay, this is the wallet address, and then you can confirm that these are the tokens that you want to buy, which I also think is quite intuitive, right? For example, if you follow Ansim's Twitter and you want to analyze all of his tweets, you can set up a task for the agent. You can basically say, okay, for Ansim's tweets, send me all the tweets that are containing at least one or more ticker. And then you can schedule a task, so every time Ansim tweets, maybe you can put in the Twitter handle as well, and then it will basically give you the tickers. And then based on the ticker, you can choose to ask the agent to trade directly, and then maybe you can give a minimum fee for the agent to trade. And so another agent that I think is new is their LP specialist. So this is your ultimate DeFi assistant. It's designed to streamline liquidity management across blockchain and protocols. So whether it's deposits or withdrawals, this agent can help you find the best strategies and coordinate with other specialized agents to execute your trades. So this is a minimum of $20 worth of SOL in your wallet required. You can see here some examples. What are 10 pairs of pools for Sol and Solana? Give me the 3 pairs of pools for Penguin, Solana, etc. And yeah, let's take a look maybe at their homepage. So you can see these are curated topics from people. There's also super cool stuff. So for example, you can send your money on Solana via tippling. You can transfer funds to wallet addresses or send crypto to email via tippling. This is very, very cool. I don't think I've seen this in other agents, and I've tested quite a bit. There's also an agent payment system, so you can pay another AI agent from any Solana or EVM chains. This is good for agent-to-agent interaction, I believe. And then yeah, these are staking. So these are more DeFi related stuff. So you have LP specialists, you have Solana stake. There's also a meme coin trader similar to Graphane. I know Graphane has direct pump.fun integrations. Oh wow. There's also educational agents. So you can, ask this agent to teach you some knowledge. I do wonder where they get their information from, but this is quite interesting. We'll check it out. Yeah, so they have QuantXBT, they have AXBT, all these more market analysis related agents, which is quite cool. And that's it for today's episode. Thank you for watching and see you next week. Bye bye.